looking at the Sixers, they shot 44%. First of all, let's just lay it all out, too. They started off this game very well where they got into it and they were up 34-25 in this one. And you know the Knicks are going to make a run. That's great. All right, you got up to a good start. You built up a double-digit lead. You got up to as much as, I believe, in this one, got as high as 14 points in this one, where they were able to push the lead, put some pressure on New York, play some solid defense. And while they did give up some rebounds there, again, in that first quarter, 5 offensive rebounds to the 3 of the Philadelphia 76ers, you had to make sure that you were able to sustain that a little bit, keep that pressure on the Knicks. When Joel Embiid goes to the bench because he plays so much in the first quarter, your second unit, Jack, has to still put that pressure and not take the foot off the gas. Your rotation shortens. Not a lot of guys are going to get in. You're going maybe 3 guys off the bench. Campaign did get a few minutes, but you're going 3 guys off the bench. You have to, again, you know you're going to get Miles McBride coming in. Bogdanovich was brought in for this very reason to add some shooting, maybe a spark there for the New York Knicks as a playoff player. And you have to match that same intensity, and they quickly turned it around.
I agree. I feel like in the first quarter, they played at the Sixers' pace. But then early second quarter, I mean, the Knicks came out. They were, I believe, 3 for 3 from threes, and they raced the almost 10-point deficit in less than 3 minutes to start the second quarter. So, Sixers need other guys to really get in. You got to get in the game. They got to step up. Embiid is obviously a little hobbling, and, I don't want to get ahead of us, but he's definitely obviously hobbling, and other guys got to step up. They really do. I mentioned Paul Reed before. I mentioned Tobias, but they do, and Buddy Hield as well.
And the thing is, like the Sixers, the game started out exactly how you would want the game to start for the Sixers.
For sure.
18-7 run. Knicks are kind of trying to force things on offense. Jalen Brunson is trying to, again, we've seen this blueprint, with the Allen Iverson Sixers, back from the late 90s and early 2000s. Jalen Brunson trying to do everything on offense, and we saw him trying to force it quite a bit. Knicks started the game 2 for 12. Sixers ended the first quarter, with a 9-point lead. Obviously, things are going to switch a little bit when the bench comes in. But you started out this game exactly how you wanted to. Like everything, like by the blueprint, it's like if you told me before the game, Sixers would have a 9-point lead, Jalen Brunson's forcing shots, after first quarter, I'd feel good. But then, like you said, when Miles McBride came in, the bench came in, the Sixers bench, which we'll talk about more in detail, they did not show up today at all, pretty much. And we'll go down to plus-minus numbers of those guys. But when that Knicks bench came in, everything swung. And then, like Jack said, a 22-7 run by the Knicks to start that second quarter just kind of swung the whole game at that point.
Yeah, the Sixers can't score just 12 points in the second quarter. You can't do that. That's not a winning recipe. Now, they gave themselves a chance. I see Liam Stevens says the exact same thing as I'm mentioning it. 33-12 in the second cannot happen. And this is after Joel Embiid does his job. When we previewed this series on Thursday and listening to all of you and looking at other people on social media discussing it, understanding that Sixers have a tough opponent here, and we get that, right? Joel Embiid is going to take this team as far as he can go with his injury. How do you monitor that? We'll talk about that as we continue to go along. Tyrese Maxey, what's he going to do? Where do those secondary role players come in and help out? But when Joel Embiid does his other job of getting guys in foul trouble early, putting OG Anunoby in foul trouble with 2 fouls quickly, that's a great defensive matchup for Tom Thibodeau to have that quick-handed guy, all NBA defender, to disrupt the timing of Joel Embiid, having a smaller guy to make him a little bit uncomfortable, and also Isaiah Hartenstein, the same thing. And to have those guys in foul trouble, Jalen Brunson not shooting like we are accustomed to seeing him shooting, even though against the Sixers he did average to 22. That's 6 points lower than his 28 on the season. And he closed the season on his last 10, averaging 38. So for you to defensively do that and frustrate him a little bit to get him off his game and to build up a double-digit lead, get guys in foul trouble to force them to the bench, to have those other players also come out here and stretch that lead out. Make that New York is going to make a run, as you did, pushing it back a little bit. There in the first quarter when the Knicks made their initial run 8-0, the second chance opportunities and all of that, the Sixers then answered with a 7-0 run. You needed to do that again in the second quarter once they got it going. And as you said, Jack, 20-7, and the next thing you know, you look up, the Sixers finished with just 12 in that frame. You had to take advantage of that. of getting back into it. And as the Knicks are making that run, which you knew was coming, you had to push it again. And that's where we talked about so many of the opportunities there from the bench guys with Embiid on the sideline not doing enough.
Again, I feel like what we talked about earlier when it comes to the foul situation. OG picked up his second foul in the first quarter, and they didn't even attack him. Maxey had 0 FGAs during that stretch. When Mitchell Robinson came in the game, I thought that was a perfect opportunity for Embiid to, get more
say it like
to
you
the rim.
said. Put him in the blender.
Put him in the blender. Stay in that blue area. I feel like just, playing that high post foul line offense, it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't put enough pressure on the Knicks. It didn't allow the other. See, my feeling with Embiid is if Embiid is going, even if he's not scoring that big, understanding the injury, it just elevates the other guys. It's gonna produce open shots for the Tobiases, for the Buddy Hills and the Oubres and stuff. And Oubre did pick it up later, but early on he was a little stagnant in his offense as well. To me, it all starts with Embiid. I don't know if they're gonna have a lot of success with Embiid playing that high foul line post area. He gets the ball. He's a little quick with it, and I just don't know if that's the formula for success. Could be his injury, though.
And that's part of it. Part of it's the injury, but part of it is he likes playing that way. He likes playing that high post, kind of offense. So he kind of settles like that. But he has kind of resigned himself to take more of those outside shots, since the injury. So I don't think it's going to get any better. I agree. Like I think the game plan to beating the Knicks, or the game plan for the Sixers' best offensive strategy, as we saw in the fourth quarter when they had a couple nice runs, is give Embiid the ball in, like you said, in that painted area. Make the Knicks use those 16 fouls on Hartenstein and Robinson, and go to the foul line. Or
at the end of the day, Mitchell Robinson is not the most intelligent defender. I don't know if I can just say that.
I'll just say this: there aren't that many people in the NBA, intelligent or not, who can just guard Joel Embiid.
Exactly, I agree 100%.
So even 80% Joel Embiid, you give him the ball in the paint, he should be able to either make a basket, get fouled, or like we saw late, throw it to a cutting Kelly Oubre or whoever and make a shot.
Exactly.
And for whatever reason, the Sixers got away from that offensive game plan a few times tonight, and it cost them.
I did not like the Sixers' offensive game plan today. I didn't like the fact that they didn't come prepared enough to rebound the ball. Like, at the end of the day, that's effort, that's heart, that's will.
That's want to.
That's want to.
Yeah.
It was no surprise that the Knicks was going to hit the glass like maniacs like they did. So, I'm disappointed in the Sixers in reference to their preparation for just that aspect of the game. Brunson was off, Dante was off, and they allowed that offensive rebounding to be the difference. Because, at the end of the day, what are we talking about, a 7-point loss?
Yeah.
You get out
really
rebounded like that, you
late.
should have got blown out.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Sixers were leading in the fourth quarter.
They were leading in the fourth quarter, but again, key offensive rebounds, it just killed them at the end of the day. Hopefully they'll come in the next game with that as the primary focus.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the film study,
for sure,
the practice session, this has to be discussed once again.
We all silly like the mayor.